All right, welcome everybody to the pre-race video brief for the 2021 USARA National Championship race. We've got a fantastic race in store for you when you get here to Lake Woods Resort. Got a fantastic host location. I've been here for the past 3 days. Everything's centrally located. I think most of you are staying here. They got a restaurant on site. Pre-race activities are going to be taking place here. Post-race activities are going to be taking place here. So it's going to work out really well. Like most places, currently with the state of the economy, they're a little short-staffed at times. So please be understanding and gracious. They're ready for us. I've had some good conversations with the owners and the staff here. They know what to expect. They know we're all a little bit odd compared to the average tourist in what we're doing. I've gotten the question a few times. Wait, they're going all 30 hours straight? And I've tried to explain the sport a little bit, but be understanding. They're going to be working for us for meals and stuff like that. Speaking of meals and things along those lines, went out in the first update, but please pay attention to this. On your way to Lake Woods, don't wait to the last minute if you need to get supplies. If you're coming up kind of the western route, you're going to go through Hayward. There's a Walmart there, and I think a grocery store there as well. Mm-hmm. That's your last, I was going to say last best, probably your last chance to really get supplies in any meaningful way. If you're coming up kind of the eastern way through Wausau is your best bet for pretty much whatever you want. And then there's a few small towns on the back roads as you come in here. I can't remember the names of them, but you maybe find a grocery store with some stuff. But best to come prepared in that sense. I'm going to introduce Paula Waite. She's our race director for this year's event. And let her talk a little bit about the course.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's an honor to have everybody coming for Nationals. So it's been a long time coming with the race canceled last year. So excited to have everyone here and get to show off the beautiful Chequamegon National Forest and the surrounding area. I wanted to just talk a little bit about maps. So we're just going to show you the maps. No, we're not. But a little bit of...
They're right there.
They are right there. I just wanted to talk a little bit about them and just a few tips. You're going to get a lot of maps on race morning. Those of you who've done our races are probably familiar with that. Those of you who haven't, just be prepared to have a lot of maps on race morning. Go through them all, understand what's there, and be sure to use all of them. Occasionally we hear from teams that, oh, I didn't realize that map would have really helped me. So make sure you kind of inventory what's there, and we'll have a list of what maps you should be receiving so you can kind of think through those. Pay attention then to the scale of the maps, because you're receiving all different maps. The scale is going to be a little bit different on some of those, so be sure to really take a careful look at those. And then the big topo maps that you're getting, I've taken a lot of time to add a lot of trails and roads to those maps, but it would be impossible to get everything on there. So just be aware that while there's a lot of roads on there, you may run across something in the woods that is not on the map. Like maybe it's really overgrown, but in some areas you can see it, it might not be there. So just really pay attention to the topography and to your distance. So if that way you're guaranteed that stuff's not changing. Let's see what else. We have a unique area out on the course that's gonna maybe be wreaking havoc with your compass just a little bit. One area, there's a quick video that I think Mike is gonna release today.
Yeah, update number 2, you'll have a link to it.
Yep. Essentially, there's some mineral deposits that will flip that compass needle 180 degrees. So that's not a joke, and we've got video kind of showing what that's like. You'll hit that area during the day. And there are some big features in that area that are going to help you identify which way is east-west, for example. So while I would normally say always trust your compass, maybe don't trust it right in a couple of areas.
Don't use that as an excuse if you have issues on the course. It's one small section, you'll be there in the daytime, and we will tell you closer to the race specifically what section it is. So it's not like a mystery section. We will tell you exactly where it is that you'll have that fun.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's see, I think there have been some questions about the gear in terms of weather and the clothing. So we've got some stuff on there that might feel like I'm gonna have to be carrying a lot of extra gear. I think the fleece might be on there. if you get wet up here, it gets cold at night, so just be prepared with that gear. We're not just trying to make you carry stuff for the heck of it. If somebody gets hurt and you're stuck out in the woods for an amount of time, you're going to be glad that you've got that, especially if you're wet from sweating or from maybe taking a little swim. So keep that in mind.
And it's not necessarily gear that we think you're going to need while you're racing. We're thinking worst case scenarios here. So if one of your teammates gets injured and is immobile, and it takes some time to get them out of there, that's what we have this safety gear in there for. We want you to be able to stay warm when you're not out there busting your butt trying to go hard.
Yeah, so. Right. Last thing I wanted to talk about was TAs. And for those of you who've done our races before, we're having you check in and out with a TA volunteer. So come into a TA, you're going to check in, we'll record your time that you're there. The full team should be coming in to check in. Do your transition, and then you're going to come and check back out with the volunteer. There's also e-punching that's going to happen at the TAs, and Mike, you're going to talk a little bit more about that, I think.
Yep.
So, yeah.
All right, so like Paula said, we are using e-punch and trackers for this race, and as everybody should already know. I want to kind of explain a couple things related to that. First of all, there's going to be 5 stages for this year's course. So 5 large sections that are stages for the course. One of those stages itself has 5 individual legs. So you can think of it as a clover leaf or whatever term works. When you get to that stage on the course, you will have to finish what you're going to finish in all those 5 legs. And we'll have information for you about mandatory points on each individual leg and the order of legs that you can and can't do and stuff like that. That will be with your course materials. But those 5 legs constitute one stage. So that's one thing we kind of want you to know. Now onto the e-punch. For those of you, hopefully everybody is familiar with this part, which is not the e-punch. This is the orienteering flag. All the checkpoints have flags?
Yep.
Yeah, all the checkpoints in the whole course have flags. All the checkpoints will also have one of these, which I'll scoot forward a little bit here, which is your e-punch box. Which is the important part for punch when you're out there on the course. You're not, those of you familiar with the paper passports and the pin punch will not be having any of those. It's just this that you're looking for. And every team will also have one of these, which you'll either hear us call the sport ident or the finger stick or something along those lines. This is what you carry with you the whole time. You've got a little wristband for it and a little tightener thing here, so whoever's your passport person, they can put it on that way. I think people can put them on neck lanyards if they want to tuck them away. Your race depends on this. This is super important. Like, lose your compass before you lose this. Don't lose your compass though.
Well, it doesn't work in some areas anyway. So.
Yeah, right. It doesn't work some places anyways. Yeah, be very, very careful with this, because if you're punching on this, and this is basically, it's your passport. So if you lose it, we have no way of showing, you have no way of showing us that you were at those controls. The exception to that is if for any reason you think you need a backup, we're going to call this the front of the control that has a little reference number. The back of the control, there's a little 6-digit number right above the printed information on this tag here. It says made in Germany, BSF8, and above that is a unique six-digit number. This is why you need to have that writing utensil. If for any reason you're concerned about this working, you can write down that 6-digit code, and then we'll know that you're at that control. So, on to how things work when you're on the course. You will see the flag. You will see one of these hanging from the flag. You'll probably see a cable at every control.
They're all
a metal cable at every control. Those are there both as theft deterrent, and when the bears eat the controls, it ensures that as much of the control stays behind as possible. Not a joke, actually. So when you arrive, can you hold that up for me? So when you arrive at the control, you've got your finger stick and you've got your box here. You're just going to do one of these. And that's it. You hear that beep, that means that you got punched on this control. This box was, we'll call it awake, if you want to call it that. Thanks, that works.
Yep.
If you're the first team to a box that hasn't been used for a while, it may not beep right away. So it's best to kind of hold that finger stick in there for a second. You'll hear the beep, take it out. If you're still not sure, you can hit the box again real quick until you hear that beep. If you hit it a few times in a short window, we're not going to get like 3 or 4 punches registered when you come back and download this information. If you punch and then change your clothes and talk to your teammates and get something to eat and can't remember if you punched and you punch again, it's not ideal because then we're going to have 2 punches for you at that spot. But by all means, if you're not sure if you punched or not because it's late, you're tired, whatever, go ahead and punch it again and we'll clear it up later. Bottom line is make sure you do everything you can to get a good punch with this.
Hey Mike, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
So the code that Mike was pointing to on the control, so this one's 152,
Yep.
that is in your passport. So let's say it's CP12. In the passport, or in your race instructions, in the race instructions, there'll be a code next to that CP number, so 152. So use that to confirm that you are at the right spot. So we vetted this week to make sure, yep, all the right controls are in the right spot. So that's a way for you to double check it. There are a couple controls out there that are kind of close together. So if you're in the wrong spot, you could stumble across the wrong control. So verify that before you punch.
Right. So one other thing that's pertinent if your team is gunning for one of the fastest team categories. So you've got your fastest bike team, your fastest orienteering team, and your fastest paddling team. So when you arrive in transition areas, there's going to be these boxes with flags, I believe,
Yep.
in the TA that are marking the start of the next stage or leg. So let's say it's stage 3 or whatever, you're going to punch to start that stage 3. And that's how we know when we download the information from here what time you started a specific stage. So other than the legs or stages where we're recording the fastest time, that's all you got to know. Hey, we're getting ready to start stage 2. Boop, you beep on stage 2 and then you take off, and we got that time. If you're trying to get, say, the fastest orienteering section, you're obviously going to want to capture that start time and get going. And then when you come back, you're going to be wanting to stop the clock for that section, for that stage. You do that by starting the next stage. So let's say stage 2 is the fastest land nav, the fastest orienteering section. You're going to start stage 2 by hitting that TA punch. Then you're going to do that orienteering section, that land nav section, as fast as you can. And as soon as you get back, boom, you're going to start stage 3. And that keeps that time as short as possible for that competition. All that means is that your transition time is going to get added on to that next stage or that next leg. We don't have like TA punch in and TA punch out. Just got to be a little bit too much as far as how many controls we were contending with. All these instructions on how to interact with the punches for the TAs and on how each leg starts is just for this stuff. Everything Paula just told you about checking in with her volunteers holds true. So if you're coming in for that orienteering section, let's say, you come in, check in with the volunteers, we're here. Change your shoes, do whatever you got to do, then you get your team ready. Say, all right, we're getting ready to head out. Boom, you start that section and you take off. Then as soon as you come back, if you want to holler on the way in while you're going to punch the start for the next stage, that's fine. Punch it to stop your time for the stage you're leaving by starting the next stage. And then make sure you check in with her volunteers. Do the stuff you got to do, and then check in with them again when you leave. So you don't have to punch into the TA and punch out of the TA. You're only going to punch once each time. And we'll talk about this again. We just wanted to start getting people thinking about it, and that way if they had any questions, they're ready to go with the questions when they get here. I think that's pretty much it for what we wanted to cover tonight.
Yeah, I think one question that comes up is the CPs, that one that you held up isn't reflective.
Oh, right.
Those CPs that are out there are either reflective or there's been PVC with reflective tape attached to the CP. So all of the CPs that you'll hit at night have reflective tape on them. So easy to find.
Yep.
Super easy.
One more thing I'll talk about, and it's in the schedule that you'll have linked in the update. If you clicked on this video first before reading the whole update and the accompanying information, then this will be news to you. But I think everybody knows by now that there will be no UTM plotting for the maps this year. All the maps are coming pre-plotted. You're welcome. Remember that when you get lost out there. We at least pre-plotted the maps for you. Also, all the maps are coming pre-plotted. So when you look at the schedule, it shows 7 a.m. is map distribution. There's some other things around there, but that important thing is 7 a.m. when you get your maps, you need to be thinking like, okay, now we're racing. So in other words, you are locked down. No cell phones, no computers, no trips back to your room, no matter how close your room is. When you, at 7 a.m., we hand out those maps, you need to be thinking as if we are on the course right now. So the only real exception to that is you have a little bit of time after 7 a.m. to get any devices you want to carry with you on the course, your mandatory cell phone bagged up and stuff like that. We just want to make sure that we have enough time to do that. But we're going to need those in by about like 7:15 or so you're not going to have time to look at them anyways. So just be aware, you don't have to plot the maps, but you do have to pick your route, and that's it. And so you've got that 1 hour window to get that done. Along those lines, I know different people have different amounts of gear that they use to mark up their maps. Some people like use a map wheel or have a few different color-coded markers or whatever. That's fine. You can have all that stuff down here. We'll have a place where you can stash that stuff. You don't have to race with it. If you want to put it all like in a bag or a little bin or a box, that's fine. You don't need like a gear bin. You just need like something for your nav stuff. And then we'll have a designated spot that you can stash that, and it'll be monitored for the whole race. So I think that's the last kind of little different thing that people may not be used to.
Yeah.
We'll also be having a pre-race meeting at 7 p.m. on Thursday. The entire team is not required to be there. One member of the team is absolutely required to be there. We'll start getting into a little bit more course-specific detail at that point. And then maps at 7, and then 7:45, 7:50. If there's anything we got to touch on last minute, we'll do that, and then we'll get you guys started at 8 o'clock. So I think that's it.
I think that's it.
All right, we're ready. So safe travels getting here, guys, and we look forward to seeing you soon.